Well, it's part of the population that's not currently allowed to vote across the state, but Governor Andrew Cuomo wants that to change. Good evening. I'm Mary Alice Demler.
And hello, everyone. I'm Scott Levin. We are talking tonight about parolees here in New York State and a surprise executive order issued by the governor today. As 2 on your side's Claudine Ewing reports, there are mixed reviews to Cuomo's order.
And so he did it, an executive order restoring the right to vote for New Yorkers on parole. Governor Cuomo made the surprise announcement at the National Action Network conference.
In this state, when you're released from prison and you're on parole, you still don't have the right to vote. Now, how can that be? You did your time, you paid your debt, you're released, but you still don't have a right to vote.
I beg to differ. Their debt's not fully paid until they've successfully completed parole. And successfully completing parole in a law-abiding way should matter, and the restoration of rights, such as voting rights.
Local defense attorney John Elmore calls it a positive step.
I've had clients that have gotten out of prison and that wanted to vote and couldn't vote.
What about those who say that your sentence isn't done until you're off of parole? So are you giving them a right and they haven't even finished their sentence?
We are all human beings, and those that have spent their time in prison, when they are released from prison, should be treated like human beings, and at some point in time they should have all their rights restored, including the rights to vote.
But it was this statement from the governor that is raising eyebrows.
I proposed a piece of legislation, General Holder, this past year that said parolees should have the right to vote. The Republican Senate voted down that piece of legislation.
No one seems to recall this coming up during budget negotiations.
It's another example of the governor usurping the authority of the legislature and trying to grab more authority and more power.
I actually don't recall it being up for a vote, because I doubt that it would even get to the floor in the Senate, and I'm not sure whether it would be even considered in the Assembly.
Crystal Peoples-Stokes calls it a welcome surprise.
These people have did their time. They're no longer incarcerated. They're in our communities. They are citizens. They're probably working in taxpayers. Why should they not have the right to vote?
But she says now that parolees have the right to vote, it won't matter unless they register. This executive order restores the right to vote to well over 30,000 people right now on parole. Claudine Ewing, Channel 2 News.